What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another video from Pink Tourmaline. This video is going to focus on an NDE account, or a particular excerpt of an NDE account from somebody named Danielle Slupesky. I hope I'm pronouncing her name correctly. I just saw an amazing video where she recounts her near-death experience, and there's just a look. The interesting thing about every near-death experience, they're all a little bit different, all a little bit unique, because again, they're always colored by that person's perspective, that person's ability to communicate and convey information. And I think what's really powerful about this account in particular is Danielle is very, very articulate. Not to mention, she is a nurse, and what's an emergency room nurse, former emergency room nurse. And what I find to be very interesting about this in particular is I've listened to a lot of nurses who haven't had near-death experiences, but they've been around people who are near death or have passed, and they have many accounts where they're already in tune with this idea and already have a good understanding of what might be happening, just because they've been around people on the cusp of death, and they hear what they say when they kind of slip in and out of consciousness or slip in and out of their body. So I just thought this one was really powerful. Now, to just give you a little bit of background before we jump into the NDE. So she's as I mentioned, a former emergency room nurse who had a profound near-death experience. She trained and worked professionally as an ER nurse from the age of 18. And then she had a serious medical crisis where she had sepsis, kidney failure, blood clots, multiple surgeries, being in the ICU for months, and then she had an NDE. And then now she is an end-of-life coach, a death doula, and a grief companion based in New Mexico. So now we're going to get into the mix, and I want to talk about what she says here, because there's so many beautiful messages. And again, I'm trying to highlight, obviously, things that can give us some ideas about what is the purpose of life, why are we here, why do we manifest, and all of these other things about like just how the bigger picture works. Because, you know, we only have limited intellect, limited brain power, limited time in this life. We're not going to be able to understand and learn and know everything, but I'm trying my best to convey as much information as possible for people that need it, for people that want it, for people that are seeking it. And these types of accounts, I think, give us a lot of insights. And not only does she talk about, once again, the purpose of life and why everything is happening, but she also talks about the broader picture in this as well. And she, like I said, she's able to articulate it beautifully. So I'm not going to talk anymore. I'm going to let her take it away, and then we're going to reflect on her amazing words of wisdom.
Here for me. I don't believe life happens to us, right? Life happens for us, even the most horrific things. And there's value in even those experiences if we choose to kind of digest the experience and alchemize it into a meaning of some sort, right? Whether that's for us personally or for those that we can help with that experience, but that there's a purpose for all of it.
I've heard this many times. I'm going to jump in real quick. And this is that idea. I made another video about this idea of not being in victim mode, not being like, why is this happening to me? My life is so terrible. This is so unfair, as opposed to trying to extract some positives out of even really negative things that happen or that take place in our lives, as difficult as that may be. But then I think that's what she's talking about. If you can do that, then even these negative things, and I would say not even the negative things, but especially these negative things. I made a video about suffering and the value of suffering from another NDE account, that these things are probably some of the most powerful, most impactful experiences for us, both in this life and beyond, is what I would say there. So, and I think, like I said, once again, she echoes that and explains that beautifully. It's there, it's happening for us, for our benefit, and then it's up to us in terms of how we choose to receive both positive and negative occurrences and events.
I also feel like a lot of these things happen maybe because we're not on our path, right? We're not where we should be at a certain stage. And I think that that's exactly why I had the medical experience I did.
This I want to jump into, because I'm not going to go into specifics, but this really resonates with me in terms of my 2024, where a lot of crazy things happened that were really, 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 really difficult for me at the time. And I can't say that I can back this up with some sort of some sort of statistics or research or anything along those lines. I'm just, all I can say is I feel this resonates with me somewhere deep down. Like those things happen for a particular reason to help redirect me or guide me or nudge me into a direction maybe that I was supposed to follow or was part of my life plan to follow, and I wasn't going in that direction. And this was the push that I needed to get me where I was supposed to be. So this again is just, and this is also too, I feel like something that the sentiment is echoed many times where people have these jarring, crazy experiences and boom, they come out of it a drastically changed person. And maybe the alternative is you could have changed gradually or perhaps on your own had you just maybe listen more to your intuition, listen to more to yourself, to your inner dialogue and your inner voice. And if you kept ignoring it, finally it's like, okay, you can ignore, and then boom, we're going to hit you over the head with a serious event, and it's going to force you to change or transition very quickly to get you back on path.
Right. I was living, like I said, extremely unconsciously, really negatively to myself. And I think I needed the 2x4 upside the head. I think the purpose of life incarnating in a human body is experience, just experience. That the one mind, God, right? You source universe. It's very similar to like a fish doesn't know that it's in water, right? Because it's surrounded by water. Pure white light and love energy that I believe source is the culmination of all things. It's all emotions, it's all experience, it's all frequencies, and therefore it can't actually experience anything. It had to develop a system with which to feel, right? And sense and be and do. And I think that that's what incarnating into a physical realm and a physical body is.
I like that. I like that a lot. And I think that also it's in line with what other folks say. Now, I'll add a little spin to it in terms of a video that I made a couple days ago from another NDE. She's saying it's just purely experience. And while I do think it's definitely for the experience and to have experiences, but I think it's more than that. Just like she said earlier, because I'll tie it into something that she just said, and then I'll tie it into another NDE. She said it's again, things are happening for us, and the purpose is then it's up to us how we choose to respond to those particular events or occurrences, both positive and negative. And I think that the overarching idea or theme is that depending on how we react or how we interpret these things, that's going to either lead to our growth or not. And I think that's the idea, is that it still ties back in. Yes, we are here to experience, but it seems to me that the theme is to experience, but then hopefully choose the right path from those experiences. And if not, maybe like I said, like she said, you'll eventually get hit by a 2x4 over the head and get nudged even harder in that direction until you finally bend and move and go with the flow like you're supposed to. It's like I think we're supposed to do. Going back to the NDE that I discussed a couple days ago, the way that he described it. And again, this is the interesting thing about NDEs. All of the ideas are conveyed through the lens of these individual people, through their own vocabulary and through their own experiences. So you have to take that with a little grain of salt. They're not all going to be exactly identical for that reason, I believe. But the way he described it was, he said we all have a signature on our soul. And my understanding of that, my way of describing it is, it's almost like a vibration or a magnetic spin. And the aim of incarnating and being here through experiences is to get that spin going in the right direction. So it's kind of like magnetizing something by rubbing a magnet against it and getting it to spin the right way. And that's kind of what we're doing in life. And we're trying to have these experiences, but maybe interpret them with a positive attitude, a positive mindset, to improve from them, to be kinder, to be better, to keep upping what we can do for people around us, for animals, for everything around us, to just keep bringing a greater positive vibe. And then that way, changing our signature, as he said, or I guess in my vocabulary, having more of a positive spin when we leave than when we came in. Anyways, that's all I got for you guys. I thought that was a beautiful NDE. I chose that excerpt because I think it's positive. I think it's beautiful. I think if you guys want to check out her full video, I'll leave a link in the description below so you can hear the entire account. But I just want to share that with you guys today. If you guys are new to the channel, that's what this channel is all about trying to get a better read on what is the purpose of life, why are we here, where do we go after this place, and doing so through the lens of NDEs, aka near death experiences, which I just discovered a year and a half ago. And I think they're so powerful. I think there's so much information, valuable information in these amazing accounts that people just are not paying attention to nearly enough, in my opinion. I also go through books like Journey of Souls and other amazing books that dive into this subject matter. I think there's a lot of value in these accounts. And I think compared to what else we have, or what else I was always told, is it's either your only lens into what's out there, or specific like old religious texts, which never seem to be a full and complete. And I'm not saying I discount them by any means necessarily, but I always felt like there's got to be more. And if there wasn't, it just seemed like an impossible question to answer. Now I've discovered that these accounts are bountiful, numerous, and they have so many overlaps that I think lend to their credibility. It's really opened up my mind and perspective in terms of what this is all about. And for me, I think I needed that for whatever reason. Maybe everybody doesn't need it, but I felt like I needed it. So that's why I made this channel, to share this with other people who also feel like they need it. And that's it. So if you're new, I encourage you to subscribe if this is filling your soul with some positivity. And thank you guys so much for joining. We'll see you in the next video. Take it easy.